Hi, my name's Dee and welcome to Sunchild Tarot and welcome to your Taroscopes for the new moon in Pisces on the 13th of March, tomorrow as I'm filming, so hopefully I'll get them all out on time. As ever, this is a little introduction about the new moon and what I've got to say about it, which is not a lot this time. And then there's a timestamp in the description below to fast forward to your reading. The reason I do this is because I advise you to watch three of them: your sun, your moon, and your rising signs. And if you don't know what your moon and rising signs are, there is a link in the description down below just so you can get yourself a free birth chart. There's plenty of sources, websites online that you can get that from. Now, as ever, I would like you to ask a question prior to the reading. So have a think about, while we discuss the moon, or pause the video if you need to, have a think about all the questions that are floating around you at the moment and focus on one of them. I mean, definitely pause before the reading, just to spend that moment of focus. And be aware of all of them, though, because the cards will answer what they please, and not necessarily what you or I think are the highest priority issues. But yeah, this is a new moon at 23 degrees Pisces. It's the last of, I think, 6 new moons at 23 degrees of whatever sign they're supposed to be in that month. Supposed to be, that sounds wrong, but you know what I mean. The first thing that jumped out on me here is, well, the new moon is moon conjunct sun, as we all know. And this new moon at 23 degrees Pisces is smack bang on Albert Einstein's sun. So not a new moon in his case, but I really just like that image of, if you think about part of his identity that we all know, is his ability to think things through, to reason, to ask questions. And this is what I think this new moon is about. Watching a lot of the astrologers' videos, which I have yet to actually post on my Facebook page, link down below, I'll talk about that in a minute. But a lot of them are saying this new moon is not so much a time about setting intentions this time. That's for the day after, couple of days after, 3 days after of the new moon. It's more a case of planning to set the intentions, working out what you need to have in place for you to make your mind up about how you're going to proceed further. So another way of saying that is a way to clear space for setting the intentions. So clear space indicates all the old tropes of letting go and, to a great extent, forgiveness. So if there's anything you need to work on forgiving, now's an ideal time to do it. I probably have a few things on my own list. Now, this is emphasized even more by the degree angel. At 23 degrees Pisces, this degree is ruled by the angel Manakel, who represents accountability and the knowledge of good and evil. So with that knowledge of good and evil, there's that is good for me, that is not good for me, that is just downright evil, that's just not good for me. Both of those two things we can get rid of now, hopefully. Also, Manakel is ruling Mars this time. So it's 2 planets Manakel's ruling. Mars is quintile the moon, which, if I remember correctly, bear in mind I'm not an astrologer, but indicates a creative force between the two of them. So our emotions and our urge to jump forward and do whatever are linked creatively, almost mystically. Now, Saturn, you may recall in my full moon reading that I did 2 weeks ago, Saturn was sat there listening to the moon while the angels were running around, sort of an angelic court, going, "What about this? What about this? What about this?" And Saturn's going, "Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. Don't understand." Saturn this time's not even talking to the moon. No aspects between the moon and Saturn whatsoever. There is one between Mars and Saturn. Let me look it up. I forget off the top of my head what it is. Yes, there's a harmony between Mars and Saturn this time. So, as in a trine aspect. So hopefully that Manachel's discernment, understanding, the thinking as shown by Albert Einstein's son, will get transferred into some form of action that Saturn can approve of, because Saturn still remains the ruler of the chart. On that note, you know how I like my looking up astrology of the first appearances of comics characters. This is also on Lex Luthor's Lilith and Lex Luthor's Mercury. So while we're in this era of Neptune in Pisces, which again just conjuncted with Venus, but more on that in a second, or is coming up to the conjunction. I think it's coming up to the conjunction. I meant to check it before I started filming. Yeah, we've just had Sun conjunct Neptune, and we're going to Venus conjunct Neptune. Really, same day. So, near as damn it. But the Lex Luthor, Lilith and Mercury, we've got, with Lex Luthor, we've got that symbol of thinking, working things out. Okay, he had a few agendas that maybe you and I might not agree with, but he was very good at communicating things and swaying public opinion. Positive and negative there. Because Neptune in Pisces, obviously, delusion, illusion, imagination run riot, obsession. And yeah, I wouldn't trust anything Lex Luthor says one way or another. So there may be more public narratives that we would need to question, but there's also that sense of people using their own discernment and making space for the new, and being aware of all the factors that are popping their head up, saying, before you make your plans, what about this? What about that? Don't forget about me. Don't forget about this thing over here. Now, also in Quintile, we have Mercury and Uranus, ruled by Rahel, who is known as Diamond in the Rough, and is also attributed to filial submission, the submission of children to their parents, for example, but also a dispenser of longevity. So Mercury in itself, in its post-shadow phase, we've had loads of things brought up to us yet again that we can now let go of. That's the idea of the post-shadow phase. The diamond in the rough makes me think of vague plans. Vague plans that you're going in that general direction, but you don't have to firm up the details yet. You don't have to cut that diamond just yet. It's beautiful as it is. As for the filial submission, yeah, I don't know. It's there. I thought I would mention it. I've no idea how that one is going to. That could be on a very personal level for people, or it could reflect the drama going on with the royal family. There's definitely generational issues occurring with this new moon that helps us determine the way forward, hopefully in a positive way. I'm feeling pretty positive about this. I mean, people will say it's Pisces being the 12th sign is very similar, but not the same. I must stress it's not the same as the 12th house. So in terms of isolation, I don't want to say isolation. I want to inward looking study, really examining that which is within us. But we've got quite a stellium here in Pisces because, what is it, Sun, Moon, Venus, Neptune. So that's a lot of power. Obviously with the Venus-Neptune conjunction, appreciation of beauty, mysticism, maybe beautiful illusions, and you will see various astrologers talk about the the beautiful love and relationship aspect. Can also be relationship to things that we value. But this new moon is wonderful for, like I say, preparing to set your intentions. Let old things go, focus on what you love, and work out how what it is you love is going to carry you forward, what passion you want to follow. I said I'd talk about the Facebook thing. Link down below. Like I said, I share normally. I haven't this last week, but I think you'll understand that with you've seen the intro bit already. I normally post the videos of all the astrologers that I follow and whatever else that I find on YouTube that is in this vein of beautiful woo-woo. But it's also got a personal inbox. So if you want a personal reading from me, obviously watch the reading first so you can judge whether you want this or not. But if you want a personal reading, that's a way to get in touch with me. You are more than welcome to comment down below. I try to respond to all of my comments. Not always on time, but I don't hover over the computer. But I always like to try and respond. And it's interesting to know what you think. It's interesting to know that it's reassuring to know that the readings that I am doing are hitting home somewhere. Because in taroscopes, there's 3 layers to them, I think. There's obviously me doing the reading for a zodiac energy. Then there's you, the viewer, finding the readers that you... Oh, I've forgotten the word. I was going to say synchronize with, but that's... Nope, can't remember the right word. But the ones that you vibe with, the ones that you resonate, that's it. The ones that you resonate with. And then you have to apply the reading to your own circumstances if it sounds relevant. Absolutely and totally and utterly discard it if it does not sound relevant, because this is not a sort of form of mundane tarot reading. The reading either is for you and you'll be able to hear that, or it's not. Go and watch your rising sign, go and watch your moon sign. I mean, new moons, full moons, go and watch your moon sign always. So yeah, like, share, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff, because it really does help. I'm still aiming for that magic 1000 yet, so anything you can do to assist with that will be greatly appreciated. And like I say, before I bring up the cards, just remember that one thing: ask a question first. And I think that's everything that I've got to say. I actually thought I had nothing to say about this new moon, and I've not said a lot, but I think that in and of itself is significant, that it's this space. Pisces can be about rebirth, so it is this space, like the creative void before the word, that we are able to set the directions of our own rebirth, or at least, being a tarot reading, because I'm always talking about new beginnings, because that's what the cards do, this month's rebirth. So I hope you're all well, and I will bring up your cards. Cheers. Okay, Virgo, there's new beginning energy all over this reading. We have the Fool right at the center, and the Ace of Pentacles is the time that you're coming into. But I feel that at the moment there's been a burden in your past that you had achieved victory with, and right now you're feeling on top of the world. I got really positive feelings from this 8 of Wands here, but it's on top of the world as in you are heading for something, you are going for something. I am going to get there, come what may. I am going there, and I am taking this with me. Taking this with me. 10 of Wands. The 10 of Wands, the burden that you've already achieved a victory with. Because there's a bit of a confusing message here for me at the moment, and hopefully I will work it out as we're speaking. Because what appears to be standing in your way is, well, to put it bluntly, wishy-washy thinking and caring about something, or deliberately not caring about something that seems out of place. Now, it's either you're caring about something that you don't need to, or you're deliberately not caring about something that you do need to. One or the other. But I do get the feeling that although you're feeling on top and you're rushing along, carrying your 10 wands, carrying your big burden, and you're rushing forward to something where you don't really need to be carrying the burden. If anything, I feel that someone is going to quite harshly point out that that is not your burden anymore. You have already achieved victory with this, regarding this burden, whatever it is. And you have now been recognized and are heading on to a whole new time of your life. Therefore, this burden is irrelevant. And you need to just put it down. Because it looks like someone else is quite happy to point this out to you and fight you for it. And if that is the case, you should let them win. I don't think you need to be holding on to this burden, whatever it is, because there are bigger and better things. And Spirit's going to keep bringing that sense of strife, that sense of battle, that sense of conflict to you until you get the clarity to realize where you are, how you need to proceed forward. And when that happens, you will be proceeding forward with support of friends. You will be proceeding forward in a way that you can see full results. So this is Three of Cups here, but clarified by the Nine of Wands. So again, it's like you've put the burden down and you're like, but it was my burden. I don't want to leave my burden. And get over it, Virgo. I'm sorry, but get over it, because there's bigger and better things for you to do. You're worried that letting go of this burden is a choice where you're worried that letting go of this burden is unvirtuous. You're worried that it's something that you're not going to see the results of. No, you're not. That makes sense of this card, because the first oracle card of the deck was nothing will come of this situation, void of course moon. But I knew as I was looking at it, it's not all this new beginning energy that nothing will come of. It's the carrying of this burden. And why will nothing come of it? Because it already has. It's not going to happen again. You've had your victory. You've done your duty, whatever it is. Time for somebody else who is willing to do it and wants to do it to take over that burden for you. Yeah, you got really good at carrying that burden. You got superb at it. You did really well at it. You won. You had your victory. Time to do something else. Time to do something where you could fail. Because carrying this burden, yeah, you're not going to fail. You're also not going to grow. Whereas somebody else wants to take this burden on so they can grow. And you need to let this burden go so that you can grow more, in a new direction, in a spiritual direction, i.e. spiritual motivation for what you're doing. I'm not saying that you're going to go into the woo-woo economy or anything like that. As one day you're an accountant, next day you're a Reiki healer, although that's a possibility. It's more like, I'm going ahead with this because I feel it's the right thing to do, because I have a good grounding on it. I have I have understandings of the borders and, well, boundaries. I think I want to, like, professional boundaries. Um, the boundaries and the rules and the reasons why I would want to go ahead with this, and I'm doing it for the right reasons. That's the time that you can go into if you grab it. But the letting go-ness of this new moon that I talked about in the introduction, it seems to be put this burden down because people and spirit are going to keep battering you over the head until you do. And yeah, you might mourn carrying that burden because it was your burden, and you're worried that if you're not caring about it, what does that make you as a person? It's giving you a rebirth because at the very what's the word? Culmination, the final outcome. That's the phrase I'm looking for. I cannot remember my words today. The final outcome card, we've got Six of Cups with pleasure. And I am seeing the fulfillment. Funnily, I was watching. Oh, Minnow Pond. He was talking about Six of Cups is not always about stuff from the past for him. It can be about good news, being content, pleasure. Sixes are often some form of contentment. Six of Wands being victory. Six of Swords being a better place. So that means Six of Discs or Pentacles, which of course is seeing the value. So yes, you've got good dreams coming, good dreams that have a history. I'm going to bring the past into that there. Good dreams, good pleasures coming that they affirm the reason why you was carrying that burden in the first place. But they also affirm the reason that you put that burden down and let somebody else take over there while you go onto your pastures new. You going onto your pastures new here is a good thing. And people are going to shout at you until you do it. And spirit, like I said, spirit's going to keep putting people in your way. So where nothing will come of this situation, yes, keep hold of that burden, keep hold of that duty, whatever it is that you don't want to let go of. And yeah, nothing will come of that situation. No growth, no nothing. And maybe that burden needs a new person to look after it. It needs that new perspective, that new different kind of care for that burden in itself to grow and develop and evolve. Because the other two oracle cards really hammer this home. We have fruition from the Queen of the Moon Oracle deck, which is going to show that putting this burden down, whatever it is, and allowing someone else to take over, someone who wants to take it over anyway, is opening the door for that recognition, for that move forward into the pastures new. It is why you, on a selfish level, why you was doing it in the first place, but it's a natural progression of why you was doing it in the first place, and it is showing the result. It is giving you the harvest. The harvest of you having carried this burden is the being able to put it down and let someone else take over because you did so well. Now it's their turn to do well in their way, and you go and take that doing well energy somewhere else. Maybe to a bigger effect. If you think the Hierophant is a pope has a worldwide congregation. So you've been carrying one burden somewhere, and now maybe what you're doing is giving guidance to all the people who are carrying burdens like that one. So indicating a therapy role, a leadership role, a role with some form of authority or policy setting, or just a role where you can really excel and be recognized for the mastery that you had gained from carrying that original burden. If you think about, if you're in the education system, now I'm going to use British and probably outdated British for that matter, but you do your I nearly dated myself and said O-levels, but I didn't do O-levels. I was first year of GCSEs. So you do your GCSEs, your qualifications you take at age 16. Now, if you're wanting to advance, unless you're wanting to do some completely different subjects, but if you're wanting to advance in the subjects that you've already studied, you don't take the GCSE again. You move on and you do your A-levels, and then you take that to university and get your degree, and then maybe your master's, and then maybe your doctorate. But you don't repeat. If you repeat the same level, you repeat that same level doing something different, like switching from biology to geography. You know, there's if you didn't do geography GCSE, then you need geography GCSE to go on to geography A level. But if you're going to stay on biology, then you want to already move up to the A level. And this is your chance at graduation, because the maestro. Now, his tag words on the bottom here is understanding, community, and ingenuity. But the maestro is like the, what did they call it in the book? He is the nexus of creativity and research and skill, and I forget all the words they used in the list. But basically, he is the one being in the afterlife talked about in this Mausolea deck, where all disciplines come together. He shows, oh, now what was the phrase? He shows what's next to the people who have done everything. Because he's bringing all the knowledge, all the research, all the disciplines, all the skills, all of it, all into one thing, and saying, right, well, this is where you are, and so that's how you can proceed forward, building on what you've already done. And this is what you are being asked to do here. You are being asked to stop repeating what you have been doing, which is weird because the last two or three readings were talking about repeating, you know, and doing things better and better. There was a lot of Eight of Pentacles. But this time, he's telling you to stop repeating and go up a notch. Change your role. Accept the recognition that has been given you. Put this burden down, as well-meaning as you are to want to keep hold of it. You know, you're not just doing it for ego, but in a way you are, because only I can do it, no one else can do it as well as me. Really? Give someone else a chance, because you've already done the best you can. You ain't going to repeat that. You've already had the victory. You've already grown all you can through carrying this burden. Time for a new one. Time for a new role. Time for something completely different. So, yeah, you're heading forward to something, because it's quite possible that this recognition has already been received. And that this new way has been opened up for you. But as fast as you think you're going, if you're carrying that great burden, you ain't going to get there fast enough. Well, that was blunt. Hope it means something to you. But like I say, happy ending here as long as you put this burden down. There's a sense of mastery coming here with this maestro and the Hierophant. There's a sense of excelling and getting to a whole new stage, a whole new level. And good on you. Good for you. But you have to accept that it is time now to move forward. That was quick. Well, if it means anything to you, Virgo, in fact, definitely, if it means something, you comment down below. I'd be really interested to hear. Because to me, this sounds really exciting. This sounds fun. As long as you're not grieving too much about the burden you've put down. But you did your best, and it was more than what was necessary. And there's no failure here. There was only victory, but the victories have now been and gone. They ain't going to come back again. If you want another victory, you're going to have to go up a level. But I've already told you that. Do you know, I actually thought the reading was going to be a lot more telling off than what it actually is. But by the attachment onto this burden, you may well have heard it that way anyway. But as I say, it's a really good ending to it. You're going into a really grounded, good mastery future type thing. So I'm assuming this is probably career, you know. But interpret it as you will, because what I read from the cards, that's in a taroscope, that's not the end of the interpretation. It's now up to you to see if it's relevant for you, and then if it is relevant for you, how it applies for you. But yeah, put the burden down and get on with it. All right. Cheers.